Good morning and welcome to Namaste today, a spiritual way to begin your day. I'm your heartfelt host and the Sensei to serious joy, Christopher Witecki. This audio blogcast is for Wednesday, Hump Day, June 28, 2017. Welcome back, my friend. Namaste. Today is probably one of the most psychic days of the year, but today will also be a day of spiritual humidity. In today's Zodiac weather, I'll explain why I've come to that conclusion. And later in your tea time, Black Lilith has hit step 15 Sagittarius. That means you may be facing fears of success. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your Zodiac weather. This Zodiac weather is for Wednesday, June 28, 2017. And my global forecast for planet Gaia is cloudy, overcast, and humid today. Step 7, Cancer, is the ruling vibration, but a moon in Virgo makes things feel too real. Let's take a look at the planets. Happy Hump Day to you, my friend. We're halfway through the week, and you may feel like you're sort of spiritually stuck in traffic today. For beginners, Step 7 is the ruling step of the day in the sign of Cancer. Now, Step 7 is a Neptune-ruled degree, so our psychic awareness is higher on a Step 7 day than usual. But Cancer, the vibration of Cancer, our emotions, well, our emotions are the portal of psychic activity. And so when you have a Step 7 vibration plugged into an already psychic and intuitive portal, you tend to have super psychic realizations. Now, in simple terms, a psychic realization is an inspiration. The universe is trying to inspire you today. You might have had some interesting or funky dreams last night. You may have interesting dreams tonight. It's a 24-hour period, really, where Step 7 is ruling. And the Sun is beginning to trine Neptune in Pisces at Step 14. In fact, for the next 7 days, spiritual psychic awareness gets deeper, deeper, and deeper. So what does that mean for you in a simple sense? It means you want to listen to your feelings today. If you're thinking about someone and you get an icky feeling, there's a reason. If you're thinking about going somewhere and you get a weird feeling, there's a reason. In the next 24 hours, there's likely a very deep spiritual reason for every feeling that you're feeling, and it may not be a problem, but it may be something that you don't normally pay attention to. So the universe is trying to get in your way with some sense and some abilities to move forward. Now, the agenda here by the universe is our emotions. The universe is trying to inspire you with spiritual information or information from your higher self so you can shift how you feel about certain things. I mentioned this week is about feeling better. Well, the next 24 hours is a time for a little spiritual salvation. And if you have been harboring bad feelings, feeling bad about the past or the present or anything for that matter, this is the day where you want to forgive and forget. Let yourself off the hook. Don't judge yourself. Use a compassionate voice with yourself. Because when you're non-compassionate, when you're judgmental, all you do is shut down the inspiration. All you do is distract the mind from the real medicine it needs, which is a little ascension out of where you have been. So listen and ascend. Now, emotionally, things might get a little humid because ironically and paradoxically, as we ascend in number 7, the moon is in Virgo 11. And so today is literally a 7-11 sort of day. The 7 is spirit, the 11 is reality. And the moon is opposing Neptune, which means as we try to ascend, we literally feel this ping pong between what we sense and what we see, or what we sense and what we're feeling now. So it's kind of like the feeling of being stuck in some really bad traffic, let's say, where you're not moving anywhere. You sense that the traffic is going to open up, but you're feeling stuck in traffic, okay? So it's a weird dichotomy. And it's kind of I think, a comparison for you to sort of understand where you are with the moon in Virgo and where you need to go. And so you might feel a bit held back, and that's because the universe wants you to come to a realization today, not necessarily a destination today. Now, another interesting planetary point for the humidity today is Mercury in Cancer is conjoining Mars in Cancer at step 15. Step 15 adds to a 6, a net 6, and that means the overall agenda of our mind, Mercury, and the agenda of our ego, Mars, are coming together, and they're coming together for one cause, step 6, which is our peace, our ability to open up. That's what we actually practiced yesterday. But things could get very humid if you don't honor the process of step 15. The 1 is the heart, 5 is the mind. If the heart and mind are on different topics, it will be a humid day and you will feel stuck. You might even feel angry. You might even feel a bit suffocated, and that's because your heart is one place, your mind is another. But when that 5 in the 15 focuses on the 1, which is how you read step astrology, is backwards, when you are mindful 5 of your heart, step 1, then you will find you can open up, accept, and receive. So, in simple terms, if you find yourself lost, if you can't find your peace, you're not listening to your heart today. Your heart has some of the answer. I also will say that in my teachings of becoming psychic and listening to the other side, your heart is an instrument of that psychic awareness. You may receive information from above, but you don't know if that information is important unless you also verify it with your heart. So today it's also an important note that if you receive information, you have to ask your heart, is this really true? The reason why your heart knows if it's true is because it's your heart that's manifesting this entire adventure. It's your heart that's creating this reality. It's your heart that's law of attracting all the things in your life. So if you receive information, only your heart knows if it's in the script or not. Now, with that said, one of the things we are doing today is we're going to be doing some clearing of our fears. Old Black Lilith, paradoxically, is also at step 15 today. And this is the topic of our tea time. So go steep yourself some tea. Let's have our daily tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is fear of success. Now, this topic comes to my mind mostly because I myself have been recently facing fears of success. But I think with Black Lilith at step 15, the whole world will now begin to feel fears of their success. And I want to talk about what these fears are and maybe how to address them. First of all, just on a philosophical, spiritual note, I think that the reason why we're starting to face fears of success is because we're becoming successful. We've been at this for a long time, and the generations who are awake right now on the planet, who have been basically facing their fears as they come up, day after day, year after year, probably for the last 30 years, to be honest, since the last time Saturn was in Sagittarius, we have been living our story, and our story has been about all of the past life fears that we brought to the table and facing all those past life fears. This basically can be described as a story where we're fighting to survive. And so we've been fighting to survive. We've been up against opposition on the inner world. We've been up against opposition in the outer world. And so this whole time, we've been fighting in the spiritual boxing ring, facing these things as they come. Eventually, what happens is you work through your issues. You actually break through the fog, and suddenly you can see the skyline. And it's at this moment when things have broken and started to fly better, you start to have some fears of success. Now, the practical way to define a fear of success versus a fear of failure is if everything in your life is actually going just fine, if everything is on the right track, if the old problems are not bubbling up, and yet you find yourself in anxiety or fear, you're likely fearing your success. You're fearing the unknown, basically, which is your soul is uncertain what happens in the story when suddenly there's no boogeyman jumping out of the closet. I think in many people's stories, particularly my clients I've been reading as of recent, with Saturn in the high degrees of Sagittarius, we are now getting onto the path we were born to live. The first act of this path was fighting all of our fears and fighting all of our dragons. And literally, people are moving on to the next act. This next act, where we are fear-free from past lives, is the story we came to live. We came to overcome our crapola and then to do something now being fear-free. We came not to fight for our survival. We came to live in a world of thrival. And for those who are very connected to their spirit, like myself and my story, I know that humankind is making the choice this lifetime as to whether or not it wants to succeed or fail. We decide in this life, do we turn towards the age of Aquarius, or do we go one more lap around death and destruction of age of Pisces? And so I think many, many clients and people and souls basically plan to parachute down and incarnate on the earth, get rid of all of their own personal fears and clear all their own karma. And once it was clear, they would then face this question for earth: should we heal or not? This is where I think many of you as lightwalkers have come to clear and face your fears and be the light in the next age. In other words, when the world questions what one should do, your inner world will be at peace. Your inner world will be karma-free. You won't be projecting your demons onto the situation. You'll be able to look at this situation and help steer the world instead of fear the world. And we can do that as soon as we face one last big fear, and that is our fear of success. Now, basically, I think for many people, this is simply fear of the unknown. We're not used to things going right. We're not used to things falling into our lap. We're not used to getting our heart's dreams come true. This has not been the story so far. So we are very much kind of like naked babies alone in this potential world of inner peace. And I think a lot of us too, especially as I bring this up with the sun in Cancer, we have been emotionally conditioned to always respond to some sort of negativity. So our emotions are so used to dealing with a negative feeling that when there is a negative feeling, we almost feel insecure. There's this saying in the world that it's, quote, almost too good to be true, end quote. And in many cases, I think when we were going through our survival phases and whatnot, many times we probably did draw in a law of attract, something that was too good to be true, because we were being conned and we weren't listening to our inner self, all right? But I do want to say that as a sensei, overseeing people's life, when you really click into yourself and click into your talent and can walk in the light, everything is too good to be true. It is heaven on earth. The way God works is bringing it in the path of least resistance, in the most peaceful, quiet, wonderful, simple way. That's the natural nature of the spiritual universe. The reason why we haven't been in that nature of peace and everything working out is because our young egos, our young minds, our young humanness was basically getting our peanut butter fingers all over things and messing the natural order up. But I do find that when you break through that fog and you break through that inner strife, you will find that everything is easy peasy, and you will also find it's sort of hard to believe. This is okay. Facing these fears that something may go wrong, that success never happens, this is basically simply babysitting your soul through the transition. So if you're having a fear of success, in other words, you're worried about being able to handle success, you're worried about will you sabotage success, you're worried about, will you miss your success, because you were so worried about your potential success. Like the same path of healing is for all three. You just have to sit by yourself and love yourself and see if something bad happens. That's literally it. Let's just see if something bad happens. Does your heart want something bad to happen? No. Well, let's just see if the sky falls. And it's a rite of passage. It's an emotional bridge. You basically, when something great happens, you sit back, you observe, you stand strong for yourself, and don't worry. After all the shift you've been through in the last 30 years, I'm sure whatever may happen to come will be something that you can handle. You made it this far. But if you want to manifest some serious joy in your life, you have to work through these last doubts, these doubts in your soul that serious joy can happen. It can happen. I think some of the reason why we worry is because in our past lives, it did not happen. It did not happen time and time again. But now, the human race has a potential to be successful. It has a potential to be its best. And that potential comes from you living in your best side and you living in your peace and your truth. So face any fears of your success, my friend. We have come to do a very powerful spiritual mission, and we have only just begun. If you are experiencing fears of success, I have good news. You are about to become successful. And speaking of this success, I would like to help coach you into your personal success 7 days a week. I have a spiritual life coaching service called Serious Joy. If you're serious about your joy, realize that joy is a lifestyle, not a destination, and you need a personal sensei to help you each day. Come give it a try for $3.99. If you don't feel supported like you never have been supported before, cancel at any time. For more information, visit SeriousJoy.com. All right, friend, I hope you have a sacred and spiritual day today. I hope it's not too humid for you, and I hope you have some divine inspiration by the time you wake up tomorrow. While you're out there listening to your higher self, remember I love you, and to live, love, be.
Live, love, be.